Hi there, this is Istvan, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use Mitzu warehouse native product analytics with Clickhouse. On the screen, you can see the cloud version of Clickhouse, where I have a schema, Mitzu, which contains 10 tables. Each of these tables are so-called event tables, except the last one, that is a user table, we call it. A typical event table contains events from the product about the users, how do they use the product or service that your company is selling. There are a couple of important columns in each of these tables, namely the user ID, the event time, when did the event happen, and the type of the event. This is actually optional, but as you can see in this table, in the page events table, for example, I have two types of events that happen for the users in the product. This is a demo data, so the product itself doesn't really matter. It's a demo e-commerce type of data set, or a data set for an e-commerce business, let's say like this. We have page events, we have checkout events, which is essentially the user doing checkout in the e-commerce website, where we have the event name checkout, the timestamp of the checkout, and let's say what was the size of the basket in US dollars, how many items they had in the basket, etc. So this is again a type of event that the user did. Let me now go to this user profiles table. These tables are typical for CDPs that, for example, Rudder Stack or Segment can do or create such a table. What happens in this table that each user performing the events in the product will have a single row in these tables, and so-called user properties are collected into this table, and this table is often updated actually. So for example, here I can see that this user with this user ID had its first visit on the 1st of January 2021, and the last visit was in December. And that user had something like 68 visits, and from a country with this language. All right, so this is a typical data warehouse. This is how, let's say, a CDP or like Segment, Rudder Stack, or like Jitsu would put down the data into the data warehouse. And this is what Mitzu actually can query for product analytics within a warehouse native way. So essentially, Mitzu is going to generate SQL queries that is going to query these tables in the data warehouse and provide insights about user conversion rates or retention rates and user segmentation. So let me now switch the tab and show you Mitzu. All right, so what you can see here is the homepage of Mitzu, where you can see that we have a couple of sample dashboards and charts prepared for you to explore. But if I would like to create an insight, I will click on this Create Insight button, where you can see that our warehouse connection is not set up. So I cannot choose any event for product analytics. So let me now do the warehouse connection setup, which brings me to this onboarding page, where I have to first choose the type of the data warehouse that I have. Here I have Clickhouse, and fill the credentials for the data warehouse. This is or pre-filled for me, so I'm not going to take time with this now. I will just do the test connection. Once the test succeeds, I can go to the next step, and the onboarding process is guiding me to integrate at first a single table to the Mitzu workspace. So this is the thing I'm going to do now. Just pick a single table from the Mitzu schema, and let me pick, let's say, the page events. Once I've chosen my table, I have to fill a couple of important information here. The first one is where do I store in this table the user IDs? This I already showed you in the Clickhouse service, that I have a column that contains user IDs, and I'm going to pick that. This is essential for product analytics in general, because in product analytics, everything revolves around the user concept, conversion rates of users, or retention rates of users, or user segments. So in order to do product analytics, you need anyway always a user ID that you can do product analytics with. Second, I have to choose now the time of the event, timestamp column for the events that happen in the page events table. So for that, I choose the event time. And in my table, in the page events table, I have a column called event name, and that distinguishes the events happened that are stored in that table itself. Some CDPs, let's say rudder stack or segment, store each event from the product in a separate table. In that case, this I can leave blank. But in my example, I have that column, and I'm going to choose that. Right. Click next. And now I've chosen my first table, and I can create an event catalog from that table. And as you can see, this create event catalog process actually went into Mitzu and created we call it a metadata model, where I have selected I have collected the events stored in that one table. As you can see, there is page visit event and element clicked on page event. Next, and I'm finished with the initial setup, and I can do explore of these two events. If I select the event, I can see here the two events that are present in that table. If I click page visit, Mitzu will immediately show a basic segmentation type of metric on the page, where I can visualize how many users did the page visit event on a given day. And just to demonstrate what is actually warehouse native, what is the warehouse native nature of this segmentation, is I'm going to click the SQL code here, button here, and you can see that what happens under the hood is we are generating a SQL query that is executed in Clickhouse, and the results are visualized on this page. One more important thing I would like to show you is the filters. So now I have the page visit event, and I have these event properties here that actually correspond to columns in that table. So let me pick the acquisition campaign. And as you can see, I have all the values pre-filled for the filtering. And I can choose them. And now the chart changed. Let's say I can also do a breakdown based on the same property. And now you can see that how different campaigns performed in the context of page visits. And just to demonstrate, here is the SQL query that we generated. So we are filtering for these three values in the acquisition campaign column, and we are also doing a breakdown based on the acquisition campaign property or column. Okay, I'm not going to dive into product analytics itself. I'm going to do that in a different video. But for now, let me just show you how to integrate the other tables to this workspace. So I have only one table now, and to add the other tables, it's very simple. I'm going to open this workspace settings page and click event tables and list the other tables from the same schema. All right. Except the user profiles, because that is not an event table. All right, now you can see I have all these 9 tables in my workspace, but I still need to configure the tables because I didn't select the user ID column or the event time column for them. So what I'm going to do now, the easiest way to do this is to select them all, configure, and let me finally click this configure. And as you can see that live viewers table, actually it's not an event table, so I can remove that as well. But the rest is event tables. And if I do click save and update catalog, now it will go and create a bigger meta model from the data warehouse, and I can see that 7 tables were updated out of the total 8 of the listed tables. Okay, this is done. And now I can go back to my insights and choose from the other events. Let's say I'm going to visualize the search events and let's say checkouts as well. And for let me move my face here. And for example, for the search events, I can see that there is a property called search text, which actually has too many values in it. Each search performed by the users is a different value. And in this case, we are not prefilling the filters with values. But let me pick for, let's say, the the checkout event. I have the user country code column property. Now we can see that we fetched the possible values. One thing is missing here still, which is the user properties from the user profiles table. In order to integrate this user profiles table to Mitzu, I have to go back again to the workspace settings page and now pick the user tables tab, where I need to add the user table that we have, the user profile table that we have, which is here, the user profiles. And the last thing I need to do now is to select the user ID column that should also be present in this user profile table. Where is it? And by saving and updating the catalog, I again have changed the catalog. And if I go back to the insights page, let me just pick again checkout. I will see that I can now filter on these user properties like country, language, and number of visits. Let me pick country. And now I can see the country code from the user profiles page table. But for example, the number of visits as well, there is a list of these values from the user profiles page that I can filter on. All right, so this was integration with Clickhouse in a nutshell. I hope it helps you if you have a Clickhouse data warehouse with event tables. And I'm going to come back with other videos in a later time. All right, thank you. Bye.